All right, everyone, if you're ready, it's time to have some grave encounters.
Hello, chaps. Well, Pumpkin Month is underway, so it's probably time to start bringing the scares. So today, I bring you a film that has quickly become a staple of mine around this time of year, Grave Encounters, which could best be described as what would happen if a ghost hunting show wound up in Silent Hill. Written, directed and edited by the so-called Vicious brothers, Canadian Colin Minahan and US-born Stuart Ortiz.
Get a haircut, hippie!
Who would go on to make the terribly reviewed Extraterrestrial and the just weird It Stains the Sands red. Minahan would find some solo success when he wrote and directed the much better thriller What Keeps You Alive, which likely led to him being tapped to handle the urban legend remake. Grave Encounters was done on a healthy but still slim budget of just over $100,000, and while the found footage flick received mixed reactions when it debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival, and similarly mixed reviews from critics when it released on video on demand, it actually didn't do that bad financially, earning over $5 million, not Paranormal Activity money by any means, but, well, I certainly wouldn't complain. Despite its mixed critical response, audiences really seem to enjoy it, and much like its genetic forebearer Paranormal Activity, it spawned a sequel, several knockoffs, and it certainly made an impact, with several of its bigger frights becoming memes in and of themselves. But is it scary? Well, let's roll the film and take a look together. Welcome to Grave Encounters. Enjoy your stay. Our story opens with the standard found footage conceit, the "This is real, no seriously guys" preface. Here, it's a producer called Jerry Hartfield who informs us that the film we're about to see is also the unreleased 6th episode of a show called, wait for it,
Grave Encounters.
A pretty much pitch-perfect spoof of the then prolific ghost hunting show, which, yeah, at the time, these things were bloody everywhere. He tells us that we're about to watch the recovered footage of this episode, which also marked the complete vanishing of the entire team. Once again, he assures us that, yep, this is all real folks, and rolls the footage. Right off the bat, we're greeted by our, well, I guess you'd call him our final dude, and easily the second most memorable thing about this film,
Lance Preston.
Preston is played by Sean Rogerson, a bit part actor you probably don't remember from shows like Stargate and Smallville, which is a shame because this guy is just a blast to watch. His smarmy, egotistical presenter is both a ton of fun and weirdly believable. He is joined by Sasha Parker, played by fellow bit actor Ashley Grisco, a so-called ghost expert, cameraman T.C. Gibson, played by Merwin Mondesir, who, interestingly enough, also played Bill in the cult blaxploitation version of The Crow, Bones. Yeah, the one with Snoop Dogg. We also meet techie Matt White, and yep, we're looking at the buffet at present, but I will say right off the bat, these people give their bloody all. Next, we're introduced to the real star of the show, Collingwood, the incredibly iconic and memorable abandoned asylum where we'll be spending the rest of the film. And why do I say memorable, you ask? Well, I can promise you that you've seen this place before. Its actual name is Riverview Hospital, and this little piece of British Columbia has been used in a baffling number of TV shows and movies, most notably the mutant-abusing Essex House in Deadpool 2, but also in stuff like Arrow, Riverdale, The X-Files, and Smallville. Preston then gives us a bit of sizzle regarding the apparent hauntings.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Grave Encounters. I'm your host, Lance Preston, as always, and tonight I'm very excited to take you inside one of the most terrifying locations I've ever seen.
Yeah, I just love this guy. He explains that he and the crew will be locked inside the hospital for 8 hours overnight, doing that whole seance-y, ghost hunty, gadgety thing, or as I like to call it, poking the damn bear. Preston also brings on board Morgan Turner, a local historian, to give us a bit of background on Collingwood, in particular the infamous head doctor Arthur Friedkin, who, let's say, had a bit of a boner for lobotomies.
Oh, thanks, Freddy, foreshadowing.
We then meet the warden, Kenny, who lets them in and gives them the tour. starting with the main door being graffitoed with the slogan, "Death awaits." Remember this, by the way, it comes back later on in a really cool scene. Kenny also tells them a spooky story about a window that just won't stay closed.
I lock it up real good at night, come back in the morning, sometimes this thing's wide open.
That's not scary, Kenny. And an actually scary story about a bathtub that played home to a young girl's suicide. Preston also interviews a contractor, Gary Crawford, who provides an anecdote about one of his workmen being pushed from a ladder by a mysterious force, K. And a pretty funny scene where Preston pays a groundskeeper to make up a story about ghosts, and we get this.
Yeah, I saw a ghost. Over here. It was really scary.
A ghost on the exterior of the building. Unbelievable.
Finally, we meet the last of the main characters. Fake psychic Houston Gray, played at maximum yucks by veteran actor Mackenzie Gray.
It's like a dark spirit. It might even possibly be a demon. And we have got to be extremely cautious tonight, Lance. I mean, we do not want to be messing with something like this.
Who you've probably seen and heard many times but don't remember. He was this guy in Man of Steel, and also that weird Lex Luthor clone in Smallville. Yeah, there is an odd Smallville theme running here, isn't there? Before the lock-in, Preston outs himself as a bit of a charlatan, annoying true believer Sasha.
Feeling good. That's a good location.
Do you think we're actually going to see some ghosts this time?
Oh yeah, hundreds of them, I'm sure.
Wow, maybe try to sound a little less skeptical.
And with all of the intros out of the way, it's time for night to roll in and the film to get going.
All right, everyone, if you're ready, it's time to have some grave encounters.
They begin exploring, with Gray doing his medium thing and Preston calling out for any ghosts lurking nearby to come out and say howdy. They wind up in the tunnels underneath Collingwood and hear some weird noises. They head over to investigate, and are we going to get our first scare of the movie? Nope, it's just a bunch of shit kittens. At this point, I do want to note something. The film has spent quite a while establishing a lot of stuff. The window, the tub, the tunnels, the pushy thing, the rats, and the Death Awaits main door. Believe it or not, every single one of these will get a payoff before the movie ends. Well done, Vicious Brothers. At 4:26, the team is taking a breather in the entryway, and we see cuts from all the cameras Matt set up. Finally, after 30 minutes of build-up, we get our first sight of something scary. Oh yeah, that window is, well, it's certainly open. Meh, but there's more to come. Don't you worry. Preston declares that they're basically done with filming, but does want a few more shots of the hallways from TC, who sets about wandering around and discovers a frigging wheelchair out in the middle of a hallway. Huh. He also gets a kind of ironic call from his wife and daughter.
Didn't we have this conversation? Monsters aren't real, baby.
As we see that wheelchair move ever so slightly. This leads us immediately into another scare, as something loudly fails to close the bathroom door as TC tries to leave.
What the fuck was that?
Shortly after, we see that the team is overjoyed to find out that TC caught all of it on video, and all head to the bogs to try and get the ghost to do it again. But Mr. Ghost isn't biting.
Feel free to slam it as hard as you like. So go ahead. Slam it!
Spirit, I invoke you to make an appearance. Take out.
Damn it, these two are just...
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
Whoa, that actually got me. Someone tipped a gurney over. And with whatever that was, we're off to the races, as a few more creaks and thumps are heard upstairs, which, understandably enough, leads the crew to think that maybe someone is in there with them and is punking them.
Listen, if there's anybody here trying to fuck with us, it's not funny. All right, we'll call the police. We have a right to be here. We have a permit, and you don't.
But as we're in a horror movie, well, we all know better. Sasha then chimes in, wondering if this could actually be a real ghost. She starts doing the whole EVP recording thing, But it turns out that this demon is not keen on making a demo tape and wants to cop a feel.
Holy shit!
In a scare taken and frankly massively improved on from Paranormal Activity, Sasha looks about right to EVP herself and demands to leave. Despite some mild protests from Lance, the team actually does a sensible thing and sends Gray to take her downstairs while Lance and TC try to get some more ghostly goodness on tape. It also turns out that, yep, we now have spooks popping up aplenty on Preston's pics. And then Lance does another amazingly sensible thing.
Okay, you guys, I think we have enough footage. Why don't we just pack up everything and we'll get out of here?
Okay, so we want me to pack up?
We're going home.
Yeah.
For maybe the first time in history, our horror characters decide early on that nope, things are getting too spoopy for the poopy. I'll work on it. And that it's time to bail. Again, it's great to see people actually acting like they have a grain of common sense. Looking at you, Mika.
You think you can get that ghost back?
After getting slightly lost, they rejoin the rest in waiting for Kenny to come and let them out. Kenny was supposed to be there at 6 and does seem a little late. But Lance tells Matt to grab the gear from upstairs so they can get the hell out once he shows up. Matt asks if anyone will help him, but everyone else is busy downstairs. And see, here's something else that I really like about this movie. We know where everyone is, where they're going, what they're doing, and why. Some more good, detail-focused filmmaking from the Vicious Brothers. Upstairs, Matt finds our old friend Unstable Window, and Matt leaves the frame amidst some ghostly sounds and a glitch. We'll learn more about his fate later on. Not counting this one as a scare, don't worry, this movie has scares to spare. When Matt doesn't return, Sasha wants to go and look for him and takes Lance and TC along, leaving Gray to wait for Kenny, who is probably getting 1 star at this point because it's already 7:30. They roam the halls calling for Matt and, hey, that's not where that wheelchair was. They also find Matt's equipment scattered all over the place. TC splits off from the group and by the laws of horror, well, something has to happen.
Matt?
And while this scare is pretty weak, it leaves TC banged up and takes his potty mouth to 11.
I got pushed.
What?
Something fucking pushed me, man. I was looking for fucking Matt. I was looking downstairs, so the fucking wind pushed me. I almost broke my fucking neck, dude.
Preston finally calls the now almost 2 hours tardy Kenny but can't reach him, and TC gets, a pretty good idea. With a bit of convincing, Preston helps him out, and we get one hell of a reveal.
This doesn't make any sense. This is the way we came in. It's just another hallway. I don't know.
Damn. You silly bastards have been Silent Hilled, as what was once the exit now opens into an endless series of hallways, and to confirm that yes, that was the main door, we catch a glimpse of that Death Awaits graffiti. Not quite a scare, but whoa. Oh, and Preston twigs onto something that a perceptive viewer has probably already spotted. We're heading into the early afternoon, and it's still pitch black out. See, this is why you don't film in Canada. The crew resolves to sit tight and wait for Kenny, and they promptly fall asleep until almost 10 PM when something knocks over their lights. TC also gets to unload a one-liner that I'm guessing he's been sitting on for days.
Houston, what's your problem?
Lance decides that he wants to head down to the tunnels and look for a way out there, but TC's like, nah bruh, I saw a fire escape outside, so let's all go to the roof and get bloody lost together. They hear some more creepy sounds, but do manage to find the stairs to the roof, only... You're so screwed. The crew hears Matt screaming for help, causing them to run into our friend from earlier.
He's not in here. He's not in here. Whoa. That just fucking moved.
Yep, it's Mr. I Hate Gurneys. No sight nor sound of Matt though, and after they take a short breather, they awaken to find that the demon from Paranormal Activity has become a lot chattier. Damn, Toby, you need to talk to someone. Lance picks up something on his walkie, and they all assume it's Matt. Since it's a close-range receiver, they reckon that he must be nearby, and this all sets up the biggest and most iconic scare of the movie. First, we get the setup, as a white-robed lady runs into a nearby room. For some reason, they think this is Matt. They follow the lady and find her, and the rest, well, here's a jump scare warning and you have fun. Holy friggin' crap! The team responds pretty much how I would.
Super f***ing run away!
And they hide out in a storage closet because that was a really good scare. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do a jump scare. We get a few more spooky noises and then we see Gray coming up to look for them, taking us from probably the most iconic scene in the movie to one of its most stupid moments. Gray gets grabbed by something invisible, and then, well, just watch. What? But yeah, that's Gray done for. Man, that's lame. We rejoin Lance, Sarah, and TC in the storage closet, and Preston states the obvious.
We're not alone in here anymore.
They fall asleep again, and when they wake, they're all suddenly wearing patient IDs. Patient IDs with their names on. Realizing that they have to leave the closet eventually, they get more oogity-boogity noises, and Sasha leans against a door, prompting this. Oh man, poor Sasha. But finally, some good news. TC just found Matt. Only Matt is dressed like a patient now and is making bugger all sense. Lance comforts Sasha and we cut into a Day of the Dead tribute and a bunch of glitches. Eventually, they all wind up in a familiar location, and once you spot that bathtub, now full of bloody water, you just know exactly what's about to happen. And yet again, we get a rock-solid scare as TC attempts to get Nutty Matt away from it.
TC, what the hell is he doing? I don't fucking know!
Well, bye-bye TC. Now down to 3 again, the crew find an elevator shaft and, in another not terrible idea, decide to use it to get down to the tunnels. Lance goes off in search of something to pry the doors open, ripping the struts off that gurney from earlier. Yet another surprisingly logical idea, which yes, we as the audience know are specifically there to allow us to get some more scares. And if you think I'm kidding, oh no, that's a tongue. I wonder what's on the... Lance books it back to the elevator shaft and they get it open, but some of the noises are coming closer, so Lance makes the first really bad decision in the movie, drops a very useful potential weapon and... Ah, you mother! Seriously, that gets me every time I watch this. Ugh! Anyway, Lance grapples with the tongueless ghost and manages to slam a door shut on it, which, for some reason, manages to hold it. Matt, though, decides that he has finally had enough of Sasha's screaming and tops himself in an amazingly cool and honestly pretty graphic scene. Damn, dude! Sasha and Lance scramble down into the shaft, finding Matt's gory corpse, and as Lance suggested earlier, they start hoofing it down the tunnels in search of an exit, but they discover that the protean nature of Collingwood unfortunately also applies down here. Then, in a completely random but honestly really sad Silent Hill-esque sequence, Sasha suddenly collapses and starts puking up streams of blood. Lance gets her up, but she's in kind of a bad way and can't go any further. We see some footage from the static cam as the timer goes completely bonkers, and we start heading for the end of the film. The two fall asleep and are soon enveloped in some dry ice smoke, and when Lance comes to, Sasha is gone. we get a sort of montage of Lance wandering the tunnels and even getting to try some local delicacies, as he slowly loses both hope and his marbles. After wandering the tunnels and assumably eating even more rat snacks, Lance finds a door that looks like an operating theatre, leading us to our final scare of the movie. And fortunately, we're going out on top here. First we establish that, yeah, this is definitely where Friedkin was doing his lobotomies, and he also had kind of a thing for the occult. Then as Lance turns around, ruh-roh, he stumbles, giving us an excuse for this to happen. Damn it, that's scary as hell. I know the stretchy face lady is pretty creepy, but this image right here, damn, I love this movie. The film ends with a final shot of a now lobotomized Preston, and yeah, that was Grave Encounters. If you haven't guessed already, this ranks among my favorite found footage flicks, and frankly, as far as scares go, one of my favorite movies in recent years. It's got a solid script, really good directing, and the cast truly do give it their all. But, is it scary? Yeah, it's pretty damn scary. The first half is definitely a slow burn, but it does set things up in terms of the scares we'll see later. Once it gets up to steam, it really does not disappoint, neither in the quality of scares nor in the quantity. So yeah, I would say that Grave Encounters is something of a must-see for all found footage fanatics and even regular horror fans. This is also a really fun movie to drop on unsuspecting folks at movie nights. It scores a solid 8 out of 10 stretchy faces on the scarometer. Well, that's me for the day. Thanks for watching. Next time, I'll tackle the, shall we say, interesting sequel. Until then, keep them brown pants on hand. This is...